2025 is your year. It will be one of the best years of your life. I am claiming it for you. I need you to claim it for yourself. And in this video, I am going to give you my 10 best ways to glow up in 2025. This is your 2025 glow up plan.
I bet if I give all my love, then nothing's gonna tear us apart.
Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Jasmine. I create a lot of content on how to glow up, how to become your best self. So if that sounds like something you're focusing on, you are focusing on you in 2025, as you should. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, join the family. We'd love to have you. Like this video to affirm that 2025 is going to be your best year yet. And go ahead and leave a comment down below the biggest lesson that you learned in 2024. I don't know about other creators, but my comment section is always a safe space to vent, to share your story, to share your tips, anything that you feel like this community would benefit from. Even if it's just a space to affirm yourself, to reassure yourself, whatever it might be, go ahead, leave a comment. I would love to talk to you. I also want to give a major shout out to today's sponsor. I know y'all see them in all of my glow up diaries, and that should tell you right then and there that I love this product. I love this brand. It is Armor Colostrum. Thank you so much, Armor, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this community. I'm going to explain in a little bit how I've been incorporating Armor into my everyday life, my everyday habits that I'm going to continue to bring in to the new year to glow up. So last year, I made a viral video on your 2024 glow up guide, and that is a really in-depth guide on basically how to glow up, how to elevate your life. I believe I broke up the video into 3 different parts: how to glow up physically, your internal glow up, and lifestyle. That video is chock full of all of my best tips. But 2024 was a very learning year, and I learned a lot. There were some lessons, there were some low points, there was some high points. It's been a year, and I've learned even more from that video. So I wanted to make a video in supplementation to that guide that you can also use in 2025. So what I want you to do, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but what I think would be helpful is I think you should watch the 2024 glow up guide before you watch this video, because that video is very, very comprehensive, whereas this video is just going to add on top of that video. It's going to be in depth, but in different ways than the other video is. Maybe watch one video in one day, take some notes, maybe watch these back to back, maybe have a self-care evening where I'm just playing in the background and it's just good vibes going into the new year. I'm going to give you my top 10 things that you should be including in your 2025 glow up plan. A lot of these I haven't really mentioned before, so I'm very, very excited to get into today's video. Without further ado, let's glow up. Also going to try my best not to yap too much in this video. I love talking to you, but we have a lot of content to get through. So if you need me to go in depth in any of these topics, I will be more than happy to create separate videos on these, but I'll try not to talk your ear off and just give you the information as quick and succinct and as informative as I possibly can. I'm looking at this list. There's so much good things in here. I don't even know where to start. I guess we should start where most glow up videos start, and let's start from the beginning. Let's start by reflecting. The first thing I want you to do in your glow up plan is reflect. Now, there are so many glow up videos that I watch and they're like, reflect, reflect, reflect. And I don't know why, but I just skip past that. I skip past the part. And I think honestly, that's very telling, because I think previously I tended to default very negatively. I used to have a negative default. Like, I don't want to look in the past. I don't want to be reminded of all the things that went wrong this year. I just want to look forward. I want to see what I can manifest in my future. Like, I don't want to look back at this year. Like, this year was horrible. But that really wasn't serving me, because our past truly teaches us lessons as we move into the future. So even if you don't emotionally want to look back, it's really good just from a logical standpoint, so you don't repeat the same mistakes. You can reflect on some of the things you learned, but more importantly, you can actually see that there was a lot of good in the year. I think a lot of times we love to complain like this was the worst year, this was the worst year. You know, I've had some bad moments in 2024, but honestly, when I look back on it and I look at, you know, the different months and I look at my photo albums and everything, I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Like, oh yeah, I crossed that off my vision board. So it's really important for us to look back and reflect. There are 3 different ways that I like to do this. The first way is a life audit. Now, I will put a life audit up here. I love doing a life audit. I probably do a life audit once every quarter. So I do about 4 of them a year. The first one and the last one obviously being a little bit more in depth. But basically what a life audit really shows you physically is where the biggest gaps are at in your life. For instance, spirituality. You put where you are right now on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being like, I'm good, like I talk to God every day, I go to church every single Sunday, I have read the Bible front to back, like I'm good spiritually. And 1 being like, I am just starting off with this journey. I have no idea. I've never read a single word in the Bible, but I'm interested. You know what I mean? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, right now your spirituality is at a 3. You've been to church a few times, maybe you have a devotional, but like you don't really read the Bible, or you're just not entrenched in it. And you know, by the end of the year, or maybe by the end of the quarter, however you want to look at it, you would like to be at an 8. You would like to be going to church very often, or streaming church. You would like to have a community. You would like to join a Bible study, whatever it might be. So that gap in between a 3 and a 8 is 5. You can actually like shade it in, and then your number for spirituality would be 5. Let's say for relationships, you know, you've done a pretty good job this year maintaining relationships, responding back to people, organizing things, seeing people. Like you feel pretty good about this year. You feel like at a 7. You're not perfect, but you know, you've been pretty on top of your relationships. You've made good friends. Let's say though, in this next year, you really want to be that socialite girl. You want to expand your friend group, or you want to go more in depth with your friends, make new friends. Maybe you're trying to call in a partner into your life. So you really want to be at like a 9. Like that's where you want to be. So that gap in between a 7 and a 9 is a 2. It's not that big. It's not as big as spirituality. What you're going to do is you're going to do that for all the different categories and see where the biggest gaps are. I want you to choose your top 3 biggest gaps. I did my life audit, and my life audit, the biggest gaps were finances, relationships, and spirituality. I think those were like my top 3 gaps. And those are the things that I really want you to focus on in 2025. If not for 2025, then maybe the first quarter or the first half of the year. It's going to give you a lot of direction on the things that are actually the biggest gaps in your life. Like I really thought I was so focused on career. When I did the life audit, I'm like, you know what? The career isn't really the biggest gap for me. I'm doing pretty well. Like obviously I have a long way to go, and I have things I want to accomplish, but it's not as big as a gap as spirituality. Like that's where I need to focus my energy on. And when you pick 3, you're not so overwhelmed feeling like you have to fix so many different areas in your life at one time. You know what the gaps are. You know what to focus on in 2025, and it gives you a clearer vision going into the new year. Second thing I want you to do, and I've mentioned this before, I first mentioned it on TikTok, it went viral, people were so interested in it, but it's called a life vision list. Now, I've kind of repurposed this in the past year, and I've used it for a different way. So a lot of times I would do my life vision list, I would write it down, and I would just kind of discard it. Like I would have it up in my mind and everything like that, but I would just put it away. This year, I really have been repurposing it. So this is the life vision list. It's supposed to be quick bullet points, like under what would you like to make annually? Or, you know, how do you want to impact the community? It's not supposed to be sentences or paragraphs. It's supposed to be quick answers. Like, what do you want? What do you want to manifest in 2025? Like, what do you want this to look like? What I ended up doing in 2024 is I like to journal, and I like to write a lot of day in the lives of my higher self. And if you've never heard me talk about it before, it's basically where I just write a journal entry of a day in my dream life. And I write it in present tense, and I write it with a lot of emotion. And it's really, you know, calling in to the life that I dream of. Where I find a life vision list very, very helpful, it almost provides an outline for that journal entry. And I like revisiting it, and I found that that journal entry, journaling a day in my higher life, has become even more intentional, even more detailed, because I've been outlining it with a life vision list. And then also when I do write day in the lives of like my higher self, I love reflecting on those and, you know, seeing, I would write a day in the life of my higher self, you know, a year ago, and then fast forward, how many of those things have I actually incorporated into my everyday life? How much closer am I to my dream life, to my higher self? These are just some things that I like to do, but I do want to give you maybe some like guided prompts, some guided questions that you can just write in your notes app to just truly reflect, write some things down, just so you could see how far you've really come and maybe where you need to go in 2025. Number one, you're gonna write down the 3 things that you're most grateful for right now and why you're grateful for them. Number 2, I want you to think of a memory that you had in 2024 that makes you feel warm. The first thing that comes to mind, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind, a memory that makes me feel warm, is just those random nights when I would go grab dinner with my best friend and grab a lychee martini, and we would just yap, and I felt like spiritually connected to her. Like I felt like, wow, I really found a best friend in this life. And we ordered appetizers. Maybe we went to a bar afterwards. Maybe we dressed up. Maybe we didn't. Maybe it was casual. Like those are memories that made me feel warm. Number 3, was there a fear or an insecurity that you feel like you've really made progress on? Maybe it was confidence. Maybe it was body image. Maybe it was just putting yourself out there. Whatever it might be, is there something that you feel like you've not overcome, but you've really made sizable progress towards? Number 4, who did you feel your best around? Now, for me, obviously it's gonna be my boyfriend. Like I feel sexy, I feel amazing. If I take that away, I felt my best around crowds actually. I felt my best when I was on stage and I was speaking. I've been telling y'all over and over again, I feel like my lane is speaking engagements, it's wellness retreats, it's everything like that. Like that's when I felt my best. I felt my best when I was around you. And then number 5, what was the best piece of advice that you learned from 2024? You can also do things like write a letter to yourself, everything that you want to tell Jasmine January 1st of 2024. Tell her about this year, tell her about what you accomplished. Like I would tell her like, Jasmine, we bought our first car this year and it was a Porsche. Your relationship with your boyfriend got even deeper. You are about to move to New York. You were the highest billed talent at your agency. You've worked with a whole bunch of brands over this year, had amazing experiences. You've traveled the world with your best friend. You love the way that you look and that you feel. You tried new things, you hated some things, but you really, really learned to love yourself even deeper. You are going to have an amazing 2024. Even just writing that letter to myself, oh, I just want to like go back in time to January 1st Jazz and just like give her a hug and be like, we had a good year this year. Like we did some stuff. We did have some rough patches, but we learned some stuff from it. You should always start any type of glow up plan, any glow up guide with reflection. So I hope I gave you some good ideas of where to start. I know when I look back on 2024 and all of the healthy things that I've been including, one of the best things that I've included in 2024, one of the best things that I found in 2024 that I will be carrying in with me, Armra Colostrum. Now, I discovered Armra Colostrum off of like literally an influencer's Instagram story. I don't know if it was the aesthetic packaging. I don't know if it was just because I had never heard the name colostrum before. I was like, what is that? But it's an influencer, you know, that I trust and that I follow. And she was talking about how, you know, it really helped with her skin, it really helped with her energy levels, and it helped with her bloating and some other stuff. But those are the 3 things that stuck out to me. I'm like, all in one. So I did my own research, bought it with my own money, got on their subscription with, girl, they reached out and I was like, oh girl, I've been using you. You're like me, girl, and you have never heard of colostrum before. Colostrum is a dairy bioactive food that is produced by all mammals. It's actually the very first nutrient that we receive when we are born. Which means it has all of the vital nutrients that we need to survive and thrive. Armra is a premium bovine colostrum concentrate. It delivers over 400 bioactive nutrients in their purest, most bioavailable form, including a host of peptides, antibodies, whole food prebiotics, and antioxidants. There's a number of colostrums on the market. I wouldn't go with anything besides Armra personally. It's physician founded and it is the only colostrum brand on the market that is validated with dual arm third-party clinical research. I've been taking this for about 6 months now. First thing I noticed when taking this was almost immediately for me was my bloating, especially my painful bloating. I've noticed much less bloating after meals since taking Armra colostrum. The next thing, which kind of makes sense because it really targets your gut microbiome, was my skin. There was such a glow to my skin. Honestly, the skin aspect and the glowiness that I get from this and the way that I felt like it really helped reduce some of my breakouts. You know, your skin is directly tied to your gut health. At least it is for me. When I focus on healing my gut, my skin is a direct result of that. And I really feel like Armra helped with a lot of that clearing up of my skin. Then because it targets the gut health, I had a lot more energy ever since taking Armra colostrum. I really don't find that I have to like take naps during the day or I get super tired after meals. Armra colostrum has been a huge game changer in my wellness journey in 2024. Again, I have chosen to invest in myself ever since I started my glow up journey, and Armra has been integral in me elevating my life, elevating my wellness journey, and taking care of me first. There's 2 ways that you can take it, but there's really only one way that I take it. You can't just dry scoop this into your mouth. That's perfectly fine. I tend to like to mix it every single morning in some cold water, some ice water, really just any cool beverage. I have the unflavored version. They have different flavors, but I just like the unflavored because I can mix it with anything. I personally put 4 scoops into my water bottle, but again, you can put this with your coffee, your juices, your smoothies, whatever it might be. The best part is, of course, I'm not gonna come to you without a discount code. You can go to armra.com/jazz, or you can just enter the code JAZZ, J-A-Z, and that's going to get you 15% off your first order. Again, thank you so much, Armra, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this community. I'll have some more information down in the description. I know y'all see these in all of my glow up diaries, and for a very good reason. I don't think I could live without this stuff. It'll definitely be part of my 2025 glow up plan. Okay, the second thing I want to mention that I feel like should be integral into your 2025 glow up plan is I found, and I really instilled this in 2024, that it was a lot more helpful to do vision boarding, to do my life audits, to plan my goals into 12 weeks rather than looking at the entire year. And when I broke up my goals like this, I found it much more easier to achieve my goals. I felt much more empowered because I was more frequently reflecting and learning. It was easier for me. For some reason, when looking back on an entire year, like I said, us as humans tend to have a negative default. Whereas when I was constantly reflecting on the quarter, once a quarter, 4 times a year, it was so much more motivating to be encouraged of all the things that I was doing. Again, it was also so much easier to maintain my goals. I would highly recommend reading the book, The 12-Week Year. It's very, very informative. There's a lot of practical tips in there. I love that book. It changed my life. You know, it's why I'm mentioning it in your 2025 glow up plan. So when we talk about, you know, those 3 things, the biggest gaps in your life audit, you know, maybe you choose 4 of them. I like to focus on 3, but maybe you choose 1 of them a quarter, and that is your focus. Spirituality is your focus. And you know, when you get to the next quarter and your focus is finances, it's not that spirituality goes away, you just stack it on top of it. So by the end of the year, there's really 4 main areas, 3 to 4 main areas of your life that you have truly focused on one at a time, and they've just stacked, that by the end of the year, it's just a well-oiled machine where all 3 of those areas, all 3 to 4 of those areas are optimal. You've been working on them. You've been learned things about them. But taking it 1 quarter at a time, focusing on 1 goal per quarter or 1 goal per month is going to be so much more easier to achieve your goals. Also, when we do this, we call it a 12-week year. It's a lot easier for us to define the weeks by a theme. You know, maybe the entire 12-week year, you're really, again, focusing on spirituality. Maybe a week you focus on a certain scripture, or, you know, you listen listen to a sermon and you do a deep dive in the Bible, or you challenge yourself to a Bible challenge or a spiritual challenge of some sort per week. When you break it up into weeks like that, by the end of the year, it's going to be so much more substantial. In 2025, instead of having 2025 goals, have Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 goals, and try to only make it one so it's a lot more easier to maintain. Sorry for the lighting change, y'all. It all of a sudden started to thunderstorming, so I had to bring out my box light, so hopefully it is not too harsh. But let's get back into your 2025 glow up plan. Okay, the third thing I want you to do, and it is something that I recently did, so you're gonna have to go and check out that vlog, is I want you sometime in 2025 to plan a wellness weekend, a wellness day, a higher self day, a higher self weekend, book a wellness retreat, whatever it might be. I want you to save up for this. I want you to budget this, because not only do you deserve it, but it has a whole host of other benefits that is going to accelerate your glow up journey. Now, what do I mean by this? I am a firm believer that the only way to really change your life is to change your environment. But I'm also hyper aware in the world that we live in, we can't always quit our job or move apartments or move homes, whatever it might be, get out of a relationship or change friends on the dot. That's not always the reality of how things go. I recently spoke at a wellness retreat, and it has inspired me to go on my own wellness retreat. There's different ways that you can do this. One, you can curate it on your own. You can go to a wellness resort, maybe a nice luxury wellness resort, and maybe you save up for it. There are some great ones in Arizona or maybe internationally, focusing on yoga or Pilates or moving your body or hiking or eating good and nourishing foods, maybe meeting other people, being in nature, touching grass. Maybe they have different workshops there, whatever it might be. I personally went to Savannah this year. It is out in Arizona. It was amazing. It was incredible. Also, some in Arizona, there is Miami and there is Miraval, but Miraval is like super expensive. But Savannah was absolutely amazing. It was everything that I needed. I did have to work that weekend, but I definitely want to go back to Savannah and put my phone down. Or you could just plan a wellness weekend in your city on your own. Maybe you book a hotel, you book a spa treatment. Maybe you start the day with yoga or Pilates. You really curate a day to you that you can just put your phone down and you can really pour back into you. Or, which I feel like is the best option, is booking a wellness retreat with a travel group. You have to use a lot of discernment when looking at these travel groups. I personally recommend Paradise and Vibe. It was so well curated. I feel like it was super healing. I love how they brought me in to actually add an educational piece to it, but it was truly Paradise and Vibe. It was absolutely amazing. So I'll include their information down below. But there are other travel groups. There's also other wellness retreats, wellness groups. I think it's perfect because not only do you get to experience a new environment, but you also get to meet other women that are also on their glow up journey. It's a great place to meet friends. It's a great place to meet lifelong connections while being in a different environment. It's just, if I could urge you to do anything, it would be to book or plan a wellness weekend, day, holiday, retreat, resort in 2025. I think changing your environment in this way, even if it's just for a couple days, will not only accelerate your glow up journey, but it'll also have you matching the frequency that you need to become your higher self. Number 4, I'm going to need you in 2025 to get rid of the toxicity. Now, when I said that word toxicity, what is the first thing that came to mind? Was it friends? Was it your relationship? Was it family? Was it the foods that you eat? Is it, trying to quit smoking or, trying to lose that stubborn weight? What is the first thing that came to mind when I said get rid of the toxicity? That is what you need to focus on, whatever your default is. Now, sometimes God or the universe, whatever you might believe in, will get rid of that toxicity for you, whether you like it or not. Will put you in a situation that's like, this doesn't serve her higher self. I know what kind of plan she's going on to, and will put you in situations that will shed those people, that will shed those habits, will put you in a situation where the things that might have worked in another season don't work now. If you want this new life, your new life is gonna cost you your old one, as it should. And unfortunately, that does mean relationships, friends, family, romantic relationships. This is going to cost you your eating habits, your toxic behavior. Remove the toxicity in your life. It has no purpose in this version that you are trying to create. I think a lot of times we look at habits or, you know, hacks or tips or secrets to circumvent the thing that we are avoiding. We almost see wellness as like a band-aid. Instead of wellness comes from within, it should be a new layer. It shouldn't just be like, okay, I have these bad eating habits, but I'm gonna do Pilates to like even it out, but I'm gonna still kind of eat whatever I want. No, this new life requires you to elevate in all areas. It doesn't have to be all areas at one time, but it is all areas. And if you are not honoring your body, honoring the promise that you're making yourself, you're gonna find yourself in a situation that's going to force you to shed it and force you to learn a lesson that you didn't need to learn that way. So it's really, really important to get rid of that toxicity now. In a more positive light, the fifth thing that I want you to focus on in your 2025 glow plan is to check in on those relationships. I feel like a lot of times we look at like, I'm trying to make new friends, I'm trying to expand my network. Sometimes it's important to delve deeper into the relationships that we already have, to delve deeper into our marriages, to delve deeper into our romantic relationships, try to mend that relationship with our mothers or our fathers. You know, there's some people that you gotta get rid of, their toxicity. But if you feel it in your heart to mend those relationships and go deeper within your friend group and to reach new levels, then it's important to do so. I also just have a bad habit of not reaching out to people when I need help. I need to check in on my loved ones more often. There was a great quote. It was basically like, if you're thinking of them, text them. If you're thinking of them, call them. Don't just think of them and be like a flying, like, oh, like I need to message that person. Do it now. Check in on these people. Check in on your people. Again, you don't need a massive circle. It's great to network. It's great to want to make new friends. But you know, sometimes in this pursuit of making new friends, we don't neglect, but we don't see the power in going deeper in the relationships that we already have, whether it be mentor, whether it be family, friends, whatever it might be. There might be someone that you have already met before and it's just an acquaintance. How can I go deeper with that one? The sixth thing that I want to mention is I got this from Lena Lifts. I love her. I love her down. Like, she is so inspiring. I think her videography is great. The way that she talks to the camera makes me feel like I'm her friend. Like, definitely when I move to New York, I definitely want to go to Pilates with her. Like, I just love her. But I was watching her winter arc video and she mentioned something called a power hour. Now, I don't do this currently, but I'm so excited to see how it works in 2025. But I just want to mention it because, you know, there are things that obviously I learned in 2024 that I'm sharing with you today that have really worked. But there are also things that, you know, I've picked up on in 2024, like this concept of a power hour, that I'm excited to try in 2025 just along with you. So basically, a power hour is when you set a timer and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna do this for an hour. Like, I'm just gonna do it for an hour. I believe the way that she describes it is she's like, it takes the pressure off of, you know, things that might seem so much to do. And then once that hour is up and you haven't completed that task, then so be it. It's not about completing the task. It's just about getting started and doing it. And oftentimes once you get started, you're gonna finish it no matter what. So for instance, if you have laundry piling up or your place is like super dirty, one, if you're in position, I would recommend just getting a cleaner. But maybe you give yourself a power hour. I am gonna set the clock 1 hour. I'm gonna put on an audiobook. I'm gonna put on some frequencies. I'm gonna put on some affirmations, whatever it might be. I'm gonna put on my favorite show. And I am just gonna dedicate 1 hour, just 1 hour, and that's it. And if I don't finish it, then fine. Maybe you're trying to start that business, but it just seems overwhelming, all these different things. I'm just gonna dedicate an hour to it. Set the timer, put on some good music, an hour to it. Calling this your power hour and maybe having one a day, maybe having one a week. This will also really work great to that life audit. a power hour for spirituality. This is something that I really want to focus on. I'm going to give myself an hour of it, whether it is an hour going to the church, whether it is an hour doing a daily devotional, whether it is an hour listening to a sermon and taking notes, whatever it might be, I'm going to give myself an hour to whatever that thing or those 3 things that I'm working on in this quarter or in this year. Do you see how everything's kind of like layering on top of one another? It's not about doing 50 million things at once or restricting yourself. It's about focusing on the things that you truly want to focus on in an efficient and productive way. The 7th thing that I want to mention is decluttering. I mentioned this before, but when I tell you, when I did a decluttering last week or last Sunday, and I just cleaned out all of my old makeup, all of my old hair products, all of my old skincare. I cleaned out my fridge, I cleaned out my pantry, I donated clothes to Goodwill. I feel lighter. I honestly feel like, especially the clothes aspect, donating that, I actually feel like I have made space for the woman that I want to become in 2025 just by decluttering. Not only will physically decluttering and donating it, it's an act of goodwill, which we all like. But in general, when you declutter, you also declutter your mental space. I can't tell you how many times I opened up a cabinet and things would be falling out and I would try to like search in there to like see where it is. One day I just realized, and I gave myself a power hour, and I was like, for 1 hour, I'm going to clean out these bathroom cabinets. And ever since then, my life has been so easy. Like sometimes I literally forget that I have free will and I can literally just fix a problem right then and there instead of just thinking about fixing the problem or thinking about how it's annoying me. I just got up, I gave myself an hour, I cleaned out the cabinets. When I tell you, I walk into my bathroom like so much more confident, so much more mentally clear. I look at the things and the messes that I create around my apartment, like physically. I'm like, why would I voluntarily stress myself out like that? So honestly, donating old clothes, you know, seeing what fits, what doesn't fit, making room for new styles and everything like that, it makes me so excited for the woman that I want to create and design in 2025. It brings me so much motivation. It is something that, you know, whenever I see declutter on my to-do list, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself an hour a week to declutter, whatever it might be. Maybe I just do an hour to sort through my clothes, an hour decluttering all of my skincare and hair care in my bathroom, an hour to just declutter my kitchen. And that's what I give myself. And I promise you, the mental and emotional relief you will get from this is amazing, but it'll also create physical space for you to elevate your life in 2025. All right, y'all, we are on our last 3 things. This is the 8th thing that I want you to include in your 2025 glow up plan. I want you to pick one thing in 2025, preferably at the beginning of the year, preferably in Q1. I want you to do something new physically. Now, is our physical glow up the most important of our glow up journey? No. But I would be remiss to say that how we look and present ourselves on the outside don't sometimes reflect what's on the inside. You should see your style, the way that your hair is, your makeup, as true self-expression, and I want you to have fun with it. I also find it extremely motivating, especially in Q1, doing something new to your physical appearance. Now, this could be anything, but first of all, it just makes me excited. It makes me feel like I'm creating a new character, whether it is adding some highlights to your hair. Maybe this is the first time you try filler or Botox. Maybe you book a stylist appointment and, you know, set a budget and just get some new clothes for the new year. Maybe you go and get a piercing. Maybe you go and get a tattoo. Maybe you take a makeup class where someone literally shows you how to do your makeup. Doing something new to change your physical appearance in Q1, honestly, I think is so motivating. I do this every single year. Honestly, it ends up just falling on this point. But one thing that I'm gonna do new physically, like I change my hair sometimes, like that's nothing new to me. I think this is the year, I'm gonna be 28 this year. I think this is the year I'm gonna start doing baby Botox. That is something new that I'm gonna do physically. I don't know if there's gonna be like physical changes, but I wanna try it, you know? It's something in 2025 that I wanna incorporate into my beauty maintenance routine. I'm super excited. I've been doing some research on it and where I want the Botox to be, and you know, who I wanna go to. I have some great injectors. I don't know, it's just something to be excited about. I love changing my physical appearance. I love having fun with it. I love self-expressing myself. I love upgrading myself. It makes me feel good physically and internally as well. It makes me feel more confident, gives me something to look forward to, and it is definitely something that you should be including in your 2025 glow up plan. This is point number 9. This is the 9th thing that I want you to do for your 2025 glow up plan. And I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. I want you to plan all of your adult appointments in 2025. Now, remember when I said that you should take things in a 12-week year? You can definitely do that, but when I say all of your adult appointments, just do it now. Put it on the calendar now, make those calls now, do it now. Book your dentist appointment, book your vision appointment, book your general doctor appointment, book your OBGYN appointment, book your car maintenance appointment, book that appointment with your accountant. All of the important people, whether it is biannually, annually, monthly, whatever it might be, book all of those annoying appointments now. Have a power hour where you're just calling. You're just calling these people or making the appointments online. Even if it's in September of next year, put it on the calendar now so that it's there. So it's not having to go on a to-do list and it keeps getting farther and farther and farther down the to-do list. And then all of a sudden you're not feeling well because you didn't check in with your doctor. Something's wrong with your tooth, whatever it might be. Go ahead, take a weekend, take a power hour and make all of your adult appointments right now. Let this be your sign. Again, I say this with tough love, but I do feel like this should be included in your 2025 glow up plan. Okay, girl, we made it to the last thing. What would be a 2025 glow up plan if I didn't mention a vision board? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna mention this in every single glow up plan because it is so powerful. Like this video if you would like me to share my 2024 vision board and see everything that came to pass on there. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know the magic behind it. I even saw some controversy on vision boarding this year. I don't know. I don't get into that. All I know is from a very logical standpoint, vision boards have always worked for me. They've always made my wildest dreams come true. I don't know if it's like a physical proclamation to God that this is what I want and my life just starts aligning to it. I don't know what it is, but I've been creating vision boards for the past 5 years. Everything has come true on them. And if it hasn't come true, then something even better in its past. Now, I personally like creating physical vision boards. This is one of the first years that I created a digital vision board and I set it as my iPhone home screen so I could look at it. And I liked that, but I think I'm just gonna go back to the old-fashioned vision boarding. I don't even call it a power hour. I call it a night. Y'all, I really make it an event. I take a shower, I use all my nice body butters, I do some skincare, I print out all of my pictures that I found on Pinterest, I physically print them out, I go to Walgreens, I get a poster board, I get some glue and I get some markers and everything like that, and I put on my TV and I play frequencies or I play affirmations, I play something super positive, manifestation music, whatever. And I just vibe out and I'm cutting with my scissors and I'm pasting, and every single time I'm pasting, I put an emotion behind it. So, you know, and I really act like I already have it and I'm just proclaiming it. And it's such a vibe. It's so fun. I've been doing this for years and everything has always come true. I like to put my vision boards underneath my bed. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm like superstitious, but I just like to go to bed and dream and get into my subconscious with my vision board being close to me. Like, I don't know, girl, that's me, but I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, even if it's not a vision board, to physically put your manifestation somewhere. Whether you journal it out, whether you create a digital vision board, whether you just write it out, like whether you just write a list of the things that you want, whether you go full vision board like me, whatever it might be. I really truly do believe that what you are seeking, the life that you are seeking, the woman that you want to become, I do feel like you need to physically see what her life looks like and it be a physical manifestation of what you're trying to achieve. Okay, y'all, what did we think of our 2025 glow up plan? I hope those were 10 tips, like I said, that were supplementary to the 2024 glow up guide that I made last year. That one is in depth, it's comprehensive, it is step by step. Whereas this one is like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can include those things into my 2025 glow up plan. I know these are the things that work for me, and I am so sure that they will work for you. I'm very excited to try more of that power hour. I feel like it's going to be very effective. What's also definitely going to be effective in your 2025 is Armor Colostrum. Don't forget, if you go to armor.com/jazz, you're going to get 15% off of your order, or you can just use the code JAZZ. Big fan of Armor Colostrum. It is such a staple in 2024, and it will be in 2025, and I'm sure that it will be for you too. Again, I will include more information down in the description. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, like this video if 2025 is going to be your best year. And again, go ahead and comment something down in the comments. I love talking with you. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, pouring into yourself. It's like I said at the beginning, girl, I truly believe 2025 is going to be your best year. I feel it for you. I feel magic in the air. I feel something in the air that's just kind of telling me that you are gonna be great. I know you're gonna be great. But if you are in this community, if you are in this channel, then I know you're pouring into yourself. I know you're working hard for yourself. And I just want to tell you that I am proud of you. I am so excited to go into 2025 with you. We're moving to New York in 2025. I'm really excited. So I am excited to see where all of us go, and I'm excited to take you along the journey with me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you so much. Meet me down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, girl.
I bet if I give all my love, then nothing's gonna tear us apart.